So just a quick note on the GoFundMe page for RAM that we've set up after the RITT interview. So Ram and myself and everyone else involved has overwhelmed the generosity of people within ITT. We did set out to raise just over £2,100. The donations are now sitting at just under £4,000. So being ITT, and we are over ambitious sometimes, but we've set a new target. So I'm going to resend the email out, and we're hoping to actually purchase 2 items of the apparatus for Milan. So ultimately it'll make RAM and Milan easier. So I can't thank everyone enough who's donated. So anyone who's put off donating, if you could do so in the next few days, because I'm going to close the page down. But again, can't thank people enough. Generosity, it's overwhelming. So back to knowledge sharing. Last time we heard from Ali Teague on unique challenges, and we do have unique challenges. Renewing an asset that's just under 160 years old. It's 157 years old this year, to be precise. It was good that Alison detailed some of the projects. He gave us some sleepless nights and some sort of spiky chair moments. But we had a good look back at a lot of the successes that we delivered as well, and how we reacted and changed the methodology, and how it defines how we approach challenges at ITT. So well done, Alison, and thank you for that. Again, by sharing these knowledge sharing sessions, we're building on the wealth of specialist expertise, and I can't express that enough. The specialist expertise we have within ITT and TDU. There's no one does deep tube renewals better than TDU in the world. So it helps advertise how good we are at what we do, and shows how we approach challenges. And it's a common thread that's running through these knowledge sharing sessions. So just a reminder again, we've got the ITT Engineers YouTube channel. So all previous sessions are up there, and this one will be up by close of business today. Keep the feedback coming in. It's helping to gain exposure for what we do across TFL, the wider TFL, and the wider Balfour Beatty business. We do have a program to cover the next few weeks. I would really like someone on nights to volunteer to do a session on night working. So looking at the like of you, Jamie Harris or Simon Atkins or Die Strong, someone like that, please volunteer and do one. It'd be really, really good. Even a couple of these on one session. So after the last presentation on surveying, it was a bit of a revelation to me that what the survey team do outside what they do for us. They do a lot besides verification surveys, the weekend support and red line drawings. They're involved from the outset. So Lee's presentation will detail how we need to be thinking when we're approaching any project in the current climate. The delivery manager's role is absolutely vital in driving a project along down a specific path, hopefully to success. It always is. The delivery manager's role determines the most effective methodology. We lean on them on their experience. Traditional BTR, delivery manager look at different options for PNC, PIMs and limes, care-offs, what size of cranes we use, 250s or 810s. Who we need to be, they will detail who we need to be liaising from the outset of the project across TFL and the Balfour Beatty wider business again. So I never thought of using the following terminology in the same sentence as Lee Hollet's name, but he's been trying to get me sacked for 15 years. But on a serious note, integrity and reputation are the core values of any delivery manager. And there's no one within the team who works more collaboratively. They manage up and they manage down. They deal with asset infrastructure managers, hand back sites, the clients. I've been out and I've seen these guys rage, Lee, Paul, Pete Brown, Gary Allen. We get the site, we're doing the last maintainer walk to hand a site back, and we've got information back from site to say a snagging item's been closed out, and it hasn't been closed out, but paperwork to say it has been closed out. So these guys, and rightly so, they get furious when this happens, because that's reputational damage, and it takes years for these guys to build up professional relationships with the maintainers, and it can be ruined very easily due to misinformation. So again, information has to be cracked on back from site. So core team 2 visited Ealing Common Depot on Wednesday with the surveyor team. We had our power and signal colleagues. We had Balfour Beatty plant with us, collaboration at work. We had a presentation a few weeks ago by Dave Mott very good presentation. And that's a thread that runs through all of these knowledge sharing sessions, collaboration. There's a few things run through. Defect free is another thing. Again, it was one of the first sessions we did. So post-COVID, we have to make sure we are leaner than ever, doing more for less, and making ITT world class. So Core Team 2 have embarked on a mission to deliver the Ealing Common Depot remodeling blockade. It's over 5 weeks. It's a very complex job, and we've said now, we've put a stall out. We said we want to hand this back to the maintainer at the end of the 5 weeks, defect free, back into service with only a follow-up tamp outstanding. It's very ambitious and it's a huge commitment, but again, this is driving costs down and making us lean. So on all the time containers we produced, there's 6 hours and 12-hour blocks solely for removing defects. So it's a big thing within Balfour Beatty, outside of ITT at the minute, and I know Megan Rayner's doing a lot to drive it on the quality close calls. So this is raising defects and targeting common reoccurring defects and rework that we do on site. So everyone will need to be focused on defect-free delivery when we remobilize fully. So as mentioned, it makes us lean. So Lee was targeted during the week by Charisma to reduce the cost of the Ealing Common Depot blockade. And Lee's looked at it in detail, and he thinks we can deliver it by reducing plant on site, which reduces a lot of the cost. And while ultimately we're here to make money, we need to do more for less. It's important now post-COVID that we're more efficient than ever. And Balfour Beatty are here to win the 6-year extension. And that needs to be at the forefront of everyone's mind. So the 2 major deliveries this year are Acton Town and Ealing Common Depot, and they're going to be under immense scrutiny, and rightly so. As always, we'll have a Kahoot quiz in the middle of the presentation at some stage, so if you can familiarise yourself with Kahoot IT, the number will be confirmed by Vid later on in the presentation. So we've had some great crack on these quizzes, and they're very interactive, and everybody's very competitive, so it's a bit of crack. So this week is on space. So Lee really loves the cosmos, and I hear he's a very huge Carl Sagan fan as well. Space cadet, someone said, but so suggested content, if we keep the ideas coming in for the knowledge sharing, and if we can use this forum, it increases collaboration across the right. It's good for us. So if you email me in the first instance, any volunteers or any subjects, please get in touch. So now for the main event. So Lee has worked for Balfour Beatty for 30 years coming this September. He's one of the most experienced London Underground people within Balfour Beatty. We all know him because he's got a habit of getting involved in everything. It's not none of his business, but some people would say he's nosy, but you make your own minds up. So Lee will tell you himself, he started his career as an engineer, and he's very forthcoming in admitting that his setting out skills weren't the best, and he cost Balfour Beatty a lot of money in the first 5 years. So he started on LU in 2007, and he spent half his career doing what we're doing now, renewing the tube. So this guy's got as much experience as anyone. He's a go-to guy. I know I go to him when I'm looking for stuff. So he's very approachable. He's very helpful. A fun fact about him. So I found this out the other day. I didn't know this, but Lee's son was on the Calpol box for 13 years. I didn't know that, but I do know that Lee he's enjoyed over the years checking everyone's Cronus, making sure that the hours are properly accounted for. He's a proper company man. So I've heard historically he used to have a red pen before timesheets were digital, and he took great pride in ensuring all his friends didn't book any extra hours. A proper company man, he calls himself. Some of his closest friends have a plethora of other words that actually describe him, but that's not for this presentation. So on that note, I'll hand over to you, Lee, and you can take it away.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for a great introduction even. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the knowledge sharing for delivery manager's role. So we're going to go through the agenda quickly. So we're going to go through driving the T-minus process from cradle to grave, getting the best from the engineers, managing the project manager, professional relationships. Then we're going to talk about some personal experiences that I've got. So as you can see on the next slide, Obviously, there on the left-hand side, you can see why my son was a child model from the boys' good looks that I used to have. There I am, a young 17-year-old. I started with Balfour Beatty when I was 16. Left straight from school, went up to Norfolk to stay away from home in CITB College. On £29.50 a week, and it used to cost us £15 to get home on the train, so we didn't have much money to spend. So yeah, this September, as Damien said, I celebrate 30 years with Balfour's. Out of these 30 years, I've worked on many prestigious projects across the country. The majority of these have been long-term projects. I've not really worked on short contracts. I've always been a year or many years like this contract is at the moment. I've actually been on this LEL contract for half of my career. And I started here back in the Metronet days. And as you see from the pictures above, it's taken my toll on my boyish good looks and my hairline. There's not much hair left to put under the hard hat these days. I started off my career with Balfour Civils. I had an HNC in civil engineering, but surveying and engineering wasn't my thing. I was making quite a few mistakes. So at the young age of 21, I was asked if I wanted to become a supervisor. And since then, I've progressed up to the role of delivery manager that I am today. So I sometimes laugh when I talk to the engineers in the office, and they tell me how old they are. And I reply that I've actually worked for Balfour Beatty longer than you've been alive, and that's quite a scary thought sometimes. And I always remember 14 years ago when I started this project, Amma come up to me and he said, "Oh, you look about 50 years old." And the other day he said to me, "I think you've eventually grown into your body, Lee. You still look 50 years old." But I'm actually only 47 in October. So there's a lot of long-time service staff within Balfour Beatty on this contract, and I think that said a lot for the company. There's a lot of individuals who care, and they don't just move from job to job just chasing the money. I've got 30 years in. There's a lot of supervisors 25, 28 years in. So I think that says a good thing about the company. Bearing in mind that I've worked on many contracts, I can honestly say this is probably one of the most challenging contracts I've worked on. And the majority of these challenges are down to late change and how we have to deal with it. That's a big thing. We touch on it later on. It's also one of the biggest contracts I've worked on in regards to the amount of staff around this project. In its prime, when we were doing 2 or 3 BTRs a weekend, we had in excess of 30 supervisors and 40 gangs permanently working here. Trying to keep all them people happy is quite a hard task that we have to try and deal with. Next one, please, Vid. So, T-minus process. We're going to talk about driving the T-minus process cradle to grave, plan for success, the review process, and the T+. So quite a lot of people know about the T-minus process, but it's also from cradle to grave, and that's important. It forms such an important part of the planning to ensure we have successful delivery, and we need to ensure the timescales that are set out in this process are met. Failing to meet these timescales only results in added pressure to delivery teams, and therefore we can end up making mistakes and the details are missed. So how the T-minus process works is in simple stages. So at T-minus 36, we receive the scope of the works so we can carry out initial site walk, and this is the delivery team only. So we look at the basics, the access, the constraints associated with the works. We also look at the methodology of construction and how we'd implement these works going forward. At T-minus 32, we carry out a more detailed site walk with some of the delivery team who are going to be responsible for delivering the full projects. By this time, we include the following people from power, signals, plant, supervisors, and any other third parties that may be required, like 4-rail or gateway or water seal. But then at T-minus 14, we have an internal review of the time change, the train matrices, and the staging diagrams with the delivery team only. This is before we sit in front of the T-minus 12 board. So at T-minus 12, before we go to the board, we have another site walk, just confirm that since T-minus 32, nothing has changed on site. There could have been some rail drops carried out by a maintainer. There could have been some 4LM assets installed. We make sure everything's as it was when we first had the site. So the T-minus review, we sit in front of the SPM, the SDM, the engineering manager, check logistics and other parties. This is to review the job in detail and to highlight any changes that need to be made. It also goes through the risk score and the works and the mitigation plans that are in place in case something goes wrong on the weekend. At T-minus 8, we normally attend a meeting, and this is normally with the project manager and the delivery manager. And this is confirmed the senior team, we have everything in place in regards to stage gates, resources, method statements, etc. from all parties involved within the possession. At T-minus 3, there's then another review, and this is to confirm that all the actions we raised in T-minus 12 have been addressed and closed out. It's also an opportunity to raise any issues that are still outstanding that we might need assistance with closing out the senior team. The readiness review is one of the last reviews of the senior team, and this also includes the level 1 and the level 2 that are responsible for the actual delivery weekend. Then on a Wednesday night for a weekend, we have a possession brief for the supervisors, safety supervisors, train spics, plant supervisors, and crane control supervisors. These to go through in detail the plan location of plant, tools, materials, and all train moves, and ensure that everyone fully understands the plan for the weekend. Then Thursday afternoon at Buckingham Palace Road, we have the before possession. It's the same as the Wednesday night brief. This ensures we capture all the site managers, the engineers, the supervisors that are not on night to make sure they're fully briefed as well. If we have a complex weekend, a P&C or blockade, then we should hopefully get a design at T-minus 74. And then there'll be some additional construction works carried out due to the nature of the job. And there's also an internal review at T-minus 20 with the senior team to make sure it's going okay. This does sound like there's a lot of track walks and reviews, but it's all ensure we have a safe and successful delivery and everyone is fully aware of the plan before we go to site. But, and it's a big but, the delivery is only part of the works, and the closeout can sometimes be harder to achieve than the delivery. We did have a period in the old TA days where, excuse me, where it's about delivery, and not closing out jobs. I can honestly say that we are still very good at delivery and one of the best out there. But the fact that we still have jobs to close out that are years old, to try and close out and hand back is a problem due to mass delivery in earlier years. I'm glad this has now changed. We're a sensible programme, we can safely deliver, but also close out in a timely manner. Some maintainers are easier to work with than others, but we won't name them here, we know who they are. We need to ensure we put the same time and effort into close out as we do with delivery. That close out should be planned and budgeted and followed in order to achieve our stage gate 5s. It should not be forgotten about. Next one, please, mate. So, influencing engineers. We're talking about teaching delivery to technically minded graduates, gaining respect from young engineers through knowledge sharing, working closely with the lead engineers to ensure simplicity of the plan, and support throughout the T-minus process. So although it's not a requirement, it's normally the case that the delivery manager is a person of a slightly mature age and has been on track for a number of years and normally having less hair than most people in our team, and we're quite vocal. So you've only got to look at me, Peter Brown, Gary Allen, Paul Haynes and Peter Matthews. We've probably got a full head of hair between us, and we've been around for many years. But it's also a good balance in that we have much younger engineers, sometimes more intelligent, that can work with the delivery managers to ensure we cover all scenarios and we have a happy medium of experience and intelligence. There's quite a few engineers that may have been to university or college but not as much site experience, and this is where we as the DMs can use the years of site experience to assist engineers so that as a team we achieve the required goals. This isn't to say that engineers don't have great ideas and new ways of carrying out the works, and that when we are in meetings and track walks, it's essential that all parties are involved and it's a team decision of what we do going forward. It's not an individual decision. I think that a lot of people really underestimate the amount of work the engineers do and what they have to do to produce a detailed plan and weekend packs of possession. There's a lot of work goes into that. Throughout the plan of works, there should be a close relationship between the DM and the engineers, and especially the lead engineers, to ensure that we cover all engineering and design requirements, but also that we don't engineer something that's required. And sometimes it is the simple things at work. As mentioned previously, the T-minus process is quite full on, and this needs a close work with the lead engineers and DMs together to make sure it all works and the whole team involved fully in that T-minus process. Next one, please, mate.
Sorry, Lee, there's a question that's come up. So in the chat, it's basically around what you said about closeouts and the T-minus process. Is there some value in having a T-minus process almost for the closeouts? What do you think? Would that benefit us in terms of closeouts?
Yeah, so at the moment we have got a small T+ process, which is go through the PPDA documentation. But I think because the closeout has been issues in the past, and we've still got issues now where we've had a big change with closing out other people's jobs, is that we do need to look at that in more detail and make sure that we plan it in the FC, which we do. But then so we put in 2 weeks follow up. Do we stick to that 2 weeks? Do we monitor what we're doing? Are the snakes being done? Are we spending what we should be spending? We have got a stage gate 5 process, which we do go through every couple of weeks with the team. But yeah, I think there should be more done for closeout in a T-minus process, definitely.
Thank you.
So managing with the PM. PMs don't all have extensive PA knowledge, but we help support the ER process and we help to keep lean. The interface between the PM and the site, and ensure we have accurate planning and reporting. So during my time working on this project, back from the old Metronet days to the current day, I've worked with various PMs and APMs. These has also been a mixture of Balfour, Beatty and LUL staff. And to be honest, who people work for makes no difference to me. We're all ITT and we're one team. Sometimes you don't even know who people do work for. Be fair, you might think someone works for LEL and they say, no, I actually work for Balfour Beatty. That's how good he's working here. What I can say is that when you work with each person, you get to know how they work. And I maybe have to adapt the way that I work with them to ensure that the end result is best for the project and for the team. There are the ones that let you carry on with your day-to-day stuff and just let you get on with it, with little interaction. And then there are the micromanagers. I let you decide which ones I prefer to work with. I've also worked with people who come from all sorts of working backgrounds. Some have years of track experience and some have none at all. Again, you know who you are. But what I say though, as a PM role, then the track experience isn't essential by any means. What you do have to have is good communication and definite organisation skills. You need to be able to step back and look at the whole project and just manage the people, manage the people below you to be able to reduce what's required and let us carry on with our specialist field. 2 seconds. Only rose, it's okay. The PM takes control of the safe gate process, but requires information from others within the team, and they then manage and ensure they have in their timescales required. What I like about it is the PM is very good with dealing with third parties and the more political issues that may arise, and they can take it away from the delivery team and deal with them. As the PMs are now predominantly LEL and TFL employees, this also has the advantage when dealing with other parts of LEL or TFL, as sometimes we as Balfour Beatty are still seen as a poor contractor. There are also a number of PMs, but not all, that do attend site on weekends that they are responsible for. I think it's brilliant and it shows they care. It also lets staff and ops on site meet them who wouldn't normally get to meet them and have a chance to talk to them. It shows me that we are in this together spirit. I really do like that. On this contract more than the other, I've been heavily involved in budgets and costs of the main BTR works, and especially the prep and follow-up works to achieve the closeout. We closely work with the QSs and estimators, and then we have detailed prep and follow-up plans that we must try and stick to. Again, there's no point having a plan if we don't stick to it. We stick to the weekend plan, we need to stick to follow-up plans as well. Part of the control of this to ensure that we get accurate reporting from the site diaries to we get accurate reporting from site diaries, ensuring that we include, but not limited to, time and off track, the works we've actually achieved, any delays incurred, and the amount of staff that turn up on site. So the last one is a big one for me. We regularly book, say, 1 TO and 3 turn up, or we book a gang of 6 men and 8 turn up. So we need to know why we're getting these additional resources and who's going to pay for them. This is then added and tracked on the EFC daily, so we can show we are performing against the agreed budget. It's also important to get other staff members involved in some of these meetings, as it puts a cost perspective on the plan that you are putting together. And some of the costs that are discussed are like lottery numbers to some people. So I invite some of the supervisors in these meetings, and they cannot believe what some things cost. It's unbelievable. But this is the right eye-opener for people, and then it makes you think more on site when you do start doing stuff, that there is a cost involved to everything. Next one, please, mate. So professional relationships with senior management, the labour and service suppliers, third parties, and lastly on track, excuse me. So a unique role of a delivery manager in terms of work relationships is that we have to work both up and down the chain. We need to deal with PMs and the senior team, but also have good relationship with supervisors and workforce on the front line. And that is key to have that going up and down, because you need help from both areas. I found out that a good working relationship also depends on the trust that you have with individuals, and therefore it's important to lead by example and ensure that we engage and listen to people and their views, no matter what their role is on site. To me, everybody's view ideas are important to listen to. We have some great ideas from men and women that are just in the gangs, come out with a great idea, because they use these tools day in, day out. Why can't we do this, Lee? Why can't we do that? So we need to make sure we listen to everyone. If you have a good working relationship, then most things will be worked out in a professional manner and resolved. Sometimes in an unprofessional manner, but mostly in a professional manner. Also, as most of the delivery managers work every weekend as site managers, then a lot of delivery managers have a good relationship with LEL and third-party staff. For example, are not limited to Power, Signals, Transplant, Waterseal, 4Rail, Gateway. Having these relationships can really help. We need assistance or a last-minute favour, and there's a lot of last-minute favours that happen out on site at weekends where we help each other out. We also have to build out a good relationship with the various maintainers that we deal with. And this has been a lot better in the last few years, as this is an essential relationship that we have to have for business. The result of this is there are many costs that can be saved by sharing labour, machines and training, etc., and allow each other access into their work sites or possession at weekends. A good example of this was when we done the P&C works at Wimbledon, where we done a lot of work with Nick Browning, and they carried out loads of the maintenance work during our possession. Because out there you only get just over an hour each night, so they saved a lot of money by working in our possession. One of my biggest issues, I think Damien mentioned at the start, is that we get a signed standing list saying that all the works is completed to standard. Then we go and arrange for a handover walk. And sometimes it is hard to get hold of the maintainer. So we nail him down, go out for a walk. You start walking the site and then the snag has not been completed. This in turn makes us look bad with the maintainer. And some of that trust that's taken a long while to get has been lost again. Not only that, we waste people's time and money, which are both very scarce commodities at the moment. Next one, please.
Lee, just another question that's come up. So obviously professional relationships are really important to our project and we're really good at collaboration. Is there kind of like a certain kind of a profession that we could kind of build a better relationship with, that we can still improve with collaborating?
Yeah, so I think we don't fully use the maintainer still like we used to. So the worst thing is we don't engage them, or we didn't used to. We didn't engage them fully, well before the weekend. So if we do fully engage them, so we done it through when Zach was my PM, we done it, and one done it, and we still do it now. We go over to their office and speak to them months before the job. We go for the scope. Is there, well, you're not using a tamper lead. Can we use a tamper Saturday? And they get a tamping shift done. So we need to engage them and do some early engagement, so that when we come to the weekend, we don't just turn up on a Friday night and all of a sudden we're working on our railway, don't know about it. They may be planning to go out and do some re-railing in the area, and we're saying, well, we're going to be that in 3 months' time, so, can you delay it re-railing? So there's still a lot of work to be done there that can save a hell of a lot of money and a lot of grief for a lot of people.
Yeah, thank you.
It's your turn now.
Oh, yeah. Nice one. Hello, everyone. So once again, as usual, we're going to have a Kahoot quiz. In honor of Lee, it's about space. Big fan of space, obviously, Lee, aren't you? So if you guys can log on to kahoot.it and enter this pin, please. So the pin number is, it's just loading, 707884. I think I'll wait for a few minutes just to allow you guys to join. Yeah, if you guys have any ideas as well for what kind of quizzes you want to see, let us know. So if you all log on to kahoot.it, the pin is 707884.
Sorry.
I'll give it a couple more minutes. I'll leave it unlocked as well, so anyone can jump in anytime they want. I'll give it 10 more seconds, maybe get 2 more players in. One more and I'll start. There we go. Space Raider. Very nice. Is that you, Lee?
I'm scared to change my screen in case I lose my presentation.
All right, I'll start the quiz now. So welcome everyone to the Knowledge Sharing Delivery Management quiz. So first question, which unit of measurement represents the average distance between the Earth and the Sun? Is it a light year, kilometer, astronomical unit, or a parsec? Hope you guys know. It is an astronomical unit. 2 of you got that right. It's a tricky one. Let's see who got it right. Jimmy and Triple X. Well played. Question 2. Where is our solar system located within the Milky Way galaxy? Is it in the central bulge around here, the arm, in a halo, I'm not sure where that is, or the outer halo? If you could get your answers in. It is actually the arm. Again, two people got that right. Let's see if Space Rider made it. Pradeep took an early lead. Really nice, Pradeep. Question 3. As Earth completes its revolution period, it is always the same distance from the sun. Is that true or false? The picture is misleading. It is false. It is an elliptical orbit. So Pradeep is on fire. Space Rider is coming up. Question 4. Which planet / dwarf planet takes less than 1 Earth year to orbit the sun? Is it Mercury, Uranus, Pluto, or Neptune? Correct answer is Mercury. I see Pradeep's on a hot streak. So is Jimmy, I think, and Amam is catching up too. Question 5, according to the Big Bang Theory, about how old is the universe? Is it 4.5 billion years old, 15 billion years old, that large number years old, 350 million years old, or 10 trillion years old? It is 15 billion years old. 8 people got that one right. So some space fans within the ITT. Question 6, which word describes the direction in which Earth rotates on its axes? Is it clockwise or counterclockwise? It is, in fact, counterclockwise. Jimmy has the highest answer streak of 4. Well played, Jimmy. Question 7, Earth is 8 light minutes from the sun. If the sun turned blue, when would you notice it? In 8 days, in 8 minutes, in 16 minutes, or in 8 years? In 8 minutes, yes. 3 got that one right. Jimmy's still going strong. Question 8, which word best describes the inner planets when compared to the outer planets? Rocky, gigantic, gaseous, far, far away. It is rocky. 7 of you got that one right. Jimmy's still going very strong. Pradeep in second. Question 9, how many stars are in the Earth's solar system? Billions, or about 100, only 1, exactly 365,928. It is only 1. 2 of you got that one right, Jimmy and Pradeep. Question 10, the final one. What is the name of the largest asteroid within the asteroid belt? Pluto, Aries, Ceres, or Halley? Quite a tough one. It is Ceres. I hope I said that right. Only 1 of you got that one right. Let's have a look at the podium. In 3rd place, we have Triple X. Well played. In 2nd place, we have Pradeep. Again, very well played. And in 1st, no surprise, our very own space buff, Jimmy. Well played, Jimmy. I'm going to hand it back to Lee. Hope you guys enjoyed that as usual. And Lee, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. So now I'm going to talk about some qualities of a delivery manager: strong professional relationships, experience on best delivery method, authority to change and adapt plans, management of process, innovation awareness, and most importantly, safe delivery. Excuse me. As mentioned before, relationships and trust are a major part in making success. You need to have both of them to make it truly work. It takes a long time to build these up, but you can lose them very quickly at the same time. The trust is a massive thing to have with certain people. Many of the delivery managers have been around for a long time and on various contracts, working with various clients up and down the country. And due to this, we have a lot of knowledge and a variety of delivery methods, like the Kairos, PEMS and LEMS, etc. And some of these methods aren't known by the engineers, they have never used them before. So we have to ensure that we as a team look at all the options available and the pros and cons for each one, and make sure that we come up with a plan we all agree to. The majority of the time, I said before, delivery managers are also the site managers on site at weekends. Therefore, we're directly involved in the plan and also have a working relationship with staff from various departments and companies. So we're in a good position on site to ensure the plan is followed and any issues that arise are resolved. Saying that though, we need to ensure that we follow the escalation process on weekends if the changes are to be made, and I'll be mentioning that later on. We touched on it earlier regarding the importance of the T-minus process, but unless these detailed agreed plans are followed, then all this hard work means nothing on the weekend. We are a major part on the weekend, ensuring this plan is followed and to manage the T-minus process from fully cradle to grave. Innovation is an important part, and we need to make sure we move forward and stop looking back at what we've done for years. Things are always progressing and new machines and tools are becoming available, not just in the UK, very rarely in the UK, it's normally abroad. But we do have a little brick wall in front of us. Trying to get things approved is tougher than we think, and it sometimes holds us back. It takes a long time getting new stuff approved on here. Most importantly though, above our expert delivery, is to remain safe at all times, no matter what the tasks you're doing. I've seen a massive change in the way the contract is now delivered, in that safety is definitely at the forefront of all conversations and plans, and it's not delivery like it was for a number of years. One of the roles of the delivery manager is to look at all the close calls raised and email responses to individuals that have raised them. We also help to promote safety on site and to have lots of good conversation with frontline staff in regards to safety and where we can make it better for everyone. Next one, please, mate. So drive delivery certainty. Start on time, stay on time, hand back on time. I'm just going to move my camera slightly. So my clock on the wall, everyone always mentions on Zoom calls, Lee, your clock's wrong, your clock's wrong. All my clocks are wrong. So all my clocks in my house, my watch in my car, everything are set 10 minutes fast. That's because I want to make sure I start on time. I hate being late. It's one of my bugbears when people turn up late for meetings that I actually hate it. So that comes from that start on time, stay on time, hand back on time, was from a course we done a few years ago called Every Second Counts. It's a great course, and it's basically tells you, if you start on time, if a weekend starts on time, the weekend predominantly goes well. If you have a bad start, the weekend seems to have loads and loads of problems come. So I've said before, I've always say, if you can work here, you can work anywhere on track. The constraints that we have to deal with, as in access, the space we have, third and fourth rail, timescales, etc., on a daily basis is a lot harder than working, I'll say, like the majority of the network rail contracts. There are many obstacles we have to overcome before we even get to site. Again, this is why the team-wise process is so important, so we track these issues that we have and also ensure they're closed out and addressed before we actually go on site. On top of staying a 50-hour possession, we also had some blockade works carried out with great success in this contract. I was personally involved in helping deliver the Uxley blockade a few years back, where we completed the full scope and handed the railway back 2 days early, and we had very few issues throughout the whole blockade. Again, the reason of this is a detailed plan that's checked and validated, and most importantly, is followed on site. We also have the upcoming blockade at Ealing Common Depot in October, which is a 5-week blockade consisting of renewing 8 P&C points, 8 P&C units and associated plain line, and a lot of walkways to do and some civils works. Unfortunately, this job hasn't followed the team-wise process, with lots of late designs and information, and this has put a lot of pressure on us as a delivery team to deliver the same detailed standards that we are always known for. As I said before, a P&C job or blockade job, we should get the design at T-minus 74 weeks, and we are nowhere near that. We also have another hard job to deliver at Oakwood at Easter next year. It seems like I give all the hard jobs to our team for some reason. This is another P&C site, but there are so many constraints that normal road rail vehicles and tampers don't actually fit underneath a covered way. So again, the expertise and ideas we have a delivery team will be fully utilised to ensure we have a safe delivery on this site. It's quite a different site that, and we're going to have to get our heads together on that one, to be fair. Start on time, stay on time, hand back on time. It's not just about the weekend for me, it's about the whole process. We should get designs and information on time, we should submit all our paperwork on time, and we should hand back all the sites and follow up on time. Once on site though, we have to make sure we closely monitor the programme to ensure that we don't slip. This isn't just about monitoring the planned time against the actual, it's about also looking forward to see if there's any issues coming in the next shift. Are all the machines working? Are all the resources booked and available? Have we got the right capacity on the train for what's required? We used to have a couple of issues where excavations would be dug too deep or too wide, and therefore more spoil was created in turn we won't have empty wagons to fill, and that caused a massive delay in the next shift. But saying that, I'm proud to say my 14 years on this contract, we've had very minimal overruns, and this is again down to detailed planning and following the plan on site, which is key to make this always happen. Next one, please, mate. So, site manager. Manager work and delivers a programme. Best place to deliver manager has driven the programme and the methodology. Manager critical resource, adding plant, power, signals, transport, etc. Escalates any deviation of the plan and ensures, like I say, most importantly, the project is delivered safely. So I've stated a few times, we are normally the site managers on the weekend, which is great for us. We've been involved right from the start on most of the jobs. This has many benefits, and we manage resources well, and we have some really good working relationships with these people we've mentioned quite a few times now. If the plan goes well and we have no train or plant issues over the weekend or no buried services, then actually the site manager's role is quite an easy job. It's almost like doing a diary and just walking around and making sure everyone's safe and everything's done on time. But saying that, we've also had quite a few bad jobs where this isn't the case, and we have a lot of unplanned issues, like plant breakdown or coming across a buried structure, or trains can't get to site. That's when the weekend isn't plain sailing. It's not uncommon to go through a whole phone battery before your shift is even finished. One of the issues I have is that when things do go wrong, you get more phone calls than you need. You need to start dealing with the issue on site instead of answering 40 phone calls in an hour, because that actually delays what we're trying to get done. When we do have issues on site though that may affect the programme, we must ensure that we use the escalation process that we've got in place. This is where the site manager escalates the issue to the level 1 manager who's on call for that weekend and discuss the issue and the plan we have to resolve the issue. These could be minor issues where we make a slight change to get the site back on programme. Or it could be major issues where we've had a major problem on site where we might have to actually de-scope the works. The level 1 manager will then consult the on-call level 2 manager and then feed back to the site manager. So how it works is we speak to level 1 speaks to level 2, and it feeds back down. We're not meant to have direct contact with the level 2, but sometimes that does happen. The main issue with falling behind on programme is that some people think this flooding the site with more resources is the answer. Well, I can tell you that isn't always the answer, and actually it can bring more safety issues to site. Flooding it with more ops on site in a small area is more risk of someone getting hit by a machine or a bit of plant, slips, trips and falls. You might even have enough shovels on site for them to use, so that's not always the answer. So they need to take lead from the site managers who on site know exactly what we need. What we do have to do though is kind of a robust recovery plan agreed by all parties, and then we must implement this while still being safe. Safety again is key, and we should still make sure it's at the forefront even when the pressure's on us. So even when we're under pressure and we want to try and rush the job and get handed back, we must make sure we're safe. Next one, please, mate.
Lee, there's a question that's come in. So basically, I assume the command and control function was introduced at a later date. Was that embraced from the start of the introduction? As soon as it was introduced, was it a positive, or was there some kind of...
Yeah, so it's changed quite a lot since it was introduced as well. So it used to be that the command control manager used to sort of try and not run the site, obviously, but try and run the program and do a lot of details on the program. So I don't mean it's rude. They're not track people. They're very good at information and detail going through. We have some very, very good command control managers that will almost have the 4-hourly report written up for you because they can read the time changes. They say they can have all your plan ready for you. So you go up there with your details, and they've already got Lee. This is where you should be with excavation. This is where you should be with ballast. This should be the rail. They're really good, and that really helps you get that through. So we've got some really good command control managers, and we work again. It's people we work closely with, and we've got some good relationships with them. Yeah.
Yeah, sound. There's also another question. So the question here is: are some lines harder than others to hand back?
What's that? I said I wasn't going to name people. Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to name people. That's not right.
Yeah, no.
Some sites we do have a lot of issues with trying to hire sites back. Some people want a golden railway. Yeah. We're paid to a job. We do it to a standard, and sometimes they want just a little bit more each time. And that's why you need early engagement. If they do want, say, there's a slightly worn ramp in, they want changing. If we highlight that 3 months for the job, and we get agreed we can replace and get paid for it, we'll do it.
Right, yeah.
But not on the handover. Oh, look at say that ramp. Well, and that's, we had a big knowledge sharing about DLAPs. That's why DLAPs are so important as well. So we have got that written down. So we can change that. At the time we walked it, we didn't mention about that ramp end. So no, we're not going to change it because it wasn't on the DLAP survey. But yeah, it's getting better. It's getting better all the time, right? So yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Next one. Sorry, mate. Next one.
Yep. This one.
That went on it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I just changed the. Yeah.
You've changed it. Right, that threw me. So this is what I think we need to make it easier for delivery managers. So ensure that we stick to the governance we have set with regards to timescales and we adhere to it. For example, getting the design and scope on time. I know I keep going about it, but Ealing Common Depot has been a major problem for us with getting late design and late scope and that. So every site, we must make sure we get it as per the agreed timescales. Stop the late change. Late change brings so much risk to delivery and push pressure on the whole team. And that's when things are missed and mistakes are made. I know we're going through something completely different now during COVID, but we have had a lot of issues late change, and I can see it going forward, going issue late change. That needs to stop to make it easy for everyone. A major one, and we're a bit scared about this at the moment because everyone's been off for 3 to 4 months, is a skilled and consistent workforce. We need to ensure that we have the right people for the job with the right skills and competencies. This not only aids the delivery, but it makes it safe on site as well. So if you know the gang have got all the tickets they need and they've worked with us before and they know the risks on site, and it can make it so much easier and make it safer. One of my ones is when we have major issues like a potential strike action or plant and trains are not available, we'd like the senior team to take that completely away from the delivery team and deal with it. So take away the big items deal with it and come back to us with no results. So we can carry on working on the detail, we can carry on working on the plan that we have to do. Like I said, the engineers have to do so much work with that detailed plan. If we start dealing with potential strike action, which 9 times out of 10 never actually resolves anything. So we like that taken away from the delivery team and dealt with at a high level. Hey, made it.
He did, yeah. Oh, there is a question that's come in from Ram. He found the presentation very interesting. He's just asking, how would you compare the role of the delivery manager at ITT with other parts of Balfour Beatty rail projects?
I think it's more intense, and I think you're a lot more heavily involved in the budgets and the EARs and ESCs. So a normal role where I've been, say, with 30 years with Balfour's, delivery is more, you'll just deliver on site. You deal with labour, you deal with plant and that. This is a lot more commercially based, which is a great thing, and I really enjoy a commercial based thing. And I think we're quite poor on the amount of commercial information we give to people. So the people on site don't actually know what things cost. So when we do a know the cost quiz, which I've done before, a nice right slip, when people know how much just a simple bolt or a clip costs, it's a right eye opener.
Yeah.
So so I think it's more commercial side here compared to other parts of Balfour, definitely.
And does that actually make our delivery managers better equipped actually to deliver if you know the costs as well, which I assume?
Yeah. So every decision you make on site has a cost implication, whether good or bad. So you got to realise that if you go and order another gang and you don't really need them, or you order a team of welders that don't drop a weld and you've paid £1,000 for them, there's obviously a cost impact to everyone. And at the moment, cost is key at the moment. We all know that.
Yeah. Is there any more questions for Lee? I don't think there are any more, so I'll hand back to Damo Lee. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
All right, thanks, Lee. The one thing that we did in one of the presentations previously, I was just trying to send in a question there, was I think we need some sort of contractual training on the new contract, just so we're more familiar with it. So that's one thing I think that's come out of the last couple of presentations. So thanks, Lee. That was very informative, and it sets out the vital qualities of the delivery manager, and integrity and reputation, joking aside, is key to that role. It's nice to see a nice photo of Paul Haynes there washing the targets on the tunnel roof, I think. I'm not sure what he was doing, but just shows you the delivery managers even don't mind getting their hands dirty occasionally. The engineers don't like it so much. As Lee touched there, Ealing Common Depot and Acton Town are major challenges, and I'm sure, there'll be huge successes for ITT. And Lee has said Ealing Common Depot has been in and out of the strat plan with budget reviews and reduced funding due to COVID-19. We're in unfamiliar territory. It's firmly in the plan now. We do have compressed timescales to deliver the works, but as always, I'm sure ITT will rise to the challenge. And one thing is worth saying, Lee, and I'm sure you'll agree with it, we're pushing for the designs. We're working very, very collaboratively with Lilliebridge Depot, and Howard Russell cannot do enough for us. I do think he's one of the unsung heroes within LU, and it's just good to give him a shout out. He's very, very helpful. So these knowledge sharing sessions, continuous improvements through feedback, that's what we're doing. We're promoting best practice and promoting success at ITT, and we're capturing the unique expertise that we have, and it is absolutely unique. Again, this presentation has demonstrated, it's a unique challenge to renew a 160-year-old asset. So all feedback, please, negative and positive, keep coming in. Upcoming, so the next session isn't going to be a knowledge sharing session. It's delivered on the 14th. It's going to be by Neville, and I think he's got a few others in. So it's going to be a back to work presentation for mobilisation. Thereafter, after that, the next knowledge sharing session is going to be by one of our most valued members of staff, Ram Ramburn, who supports everyone at work. And as I've said, it's no coincidence that most of the engineers that have worked for Ram have moved on to project management roles within LU and BB. So he's going to detail the LU project manager's role and responsibilities and all that it encompasses. So again, thank you very much for your continued support and help spread the word. You know, and this is a good platform. It's good to touch base with everybody across ITT on a regular basis. I know it was nice to get into Rise Up this week and get sitting around a table with some of the guys and looking them in the eye and getting back to work. So have a think, keep suggestions coming in, and slán for now. Thank you very much.